I am so excited, I can barely contain myself. For years, I've watched what the naysayers have said, but I've already seen this movie. I know the way it ends. It's not some sort of surprise twist ending that leaves the audience shook like The Sixth Sense.
I see dead people and dead fiat.
This is your classic underdog story. Bitcoin is the Rocky Balboa of the financial world, and we are heading to the last round of a championship bout. And haters are getting ready to throw in the towel. Get ready, because this is a Bitcoin hype video like you've never seen before. Let's get it. BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap gets you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.io. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. My name is Ben. Every day I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like money, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you're new to crypto, make sure to head on over to crypto4dudes.com, that's with the number 4, to grab your copy of the Regular Guy's Guide to Crypto, where you can learn the basics of this crazy crypto world. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and some news coming out over the weekend that's making me more bullish than ever, which is hard to believe if you watch this channel. Remember those people that called me a moon boy? As we head closer and closer to all-time highs, it's a great time to reflect on where we have been and where we are going, because it is becoming more and more obvious that we could be looking at something that will go down in history as a revolution. Bitcoin could be ready to bust through the finish line as mainstream adoption lingers. Bitcoin has been through so much in its history. Created in 2009 by the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin was started as an alternative electronic currency meant to send from peer to peer. Recently has made the transition from a currency to a more perfect version of gold. Digital gold, that is. When I first bought Bitcoin in 2012 at $12, I thought Bitcoin was nothing more than a way around regulation, similar to online poker wallets. Then, in February of 2014, when the world's largest Bitcoin exchange at the time, Mt. Gox, was hacked for $460 million in BTC, I thought for sure it was over, a flash in the pan, but it outlasted the crisis. By 2017, Bitcoin was booming again, and yet again approached all-time highs and passed them. Then the bear market struck, and it was tough. Bitcoin haters like Jamie Dimon, Warren Buffett, Peter Schiff, and Nouriel Roubini cast doubts onto Bitcoin, calling it a scam and a Ponzi scheme. But here's the thing about throwing shade on emerging technologies that you're too old and lazy to understand. You put your entire reputation at risk. Schiff and Roubini specifically have both said Bitcoin was going to zero. As we stand on the precipice of $20,000 again before rocketing much higher, these clowns' reputations have gone to zero. But make no mistake, the bear market in 2018 was hard, very difficult, especially for those of us who dedicated our entire lives to it. But we've seen this before. In fact, we've seen 3 entire Bitcoin cycles, and guess what? They all played out the exact same way. As we are in the thick of the middle of the 4th Bitcoin cycle, people are starting to get those same euphoric feelings they had back in 2017, which is where I have to caution you all to remember that so far, Bitcoin has followed a predictable path, and that path shows that Bitcoin will tumble again at the end of 2021. But does a scenario exist where Bitcoin hits $500,000 or more, mainstream adoption comes in, and finally, the Bitcoin cycles are thrown off where we stay in a bull run for years? Well, it certainly is possible. So let's talk about all the stuff going on right now that would seem to indicate we could be heading to uncharted territory. First and foremost, we have the backdrop of the pandemic. In the past several years, when we calculated Bitcoin's price, this never was taken into consideration. A worldwide pandemic with a 99.75% recovery rate that has thrown our entire world into madness and insanity. Not only has this decimated businesses everywhere, with an estimated 100,000 American businesses forced to permanently close, but it's given our government a hall pass in printing money. Trillions of dollars have been printed, and what's to stop them? Fiat currency, by definition, has no intrinsic value. There's nothing backing it. Remember when you were in the 5th grade and you asked your teacher why the government can't solve poverty by just printing more money for all the homeless people? Well, she told you it was because of something called supply and demand. Well, she was wrong. Apparently, we can print as much money as we want. If you have homeless people on the corner in your city, you need to report that to your local congressman so they can get those homeless people some money. Who knew how easy it was? And it looks like more money could be coming before Christmas. More stimulus. Fa la 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 la. And some people are counting on it to buy Christmas gifts. Ever noticed how Uncle Sam looks like Santa Claus the other 11 months of the year? But here's the thing. Supply and demand, it is a thing. And Bitcoin has that built into it with the supply shock that occurs approximately every 4 years with the Bitcoin halving event, where the amount of Bitcoin being produced per block is cut exactly in half. These 4-year cycles are what drives the Bitcoin price. On the flip side, if trillions more dollars are printed out of thin air, which they will be, our dollar will continue to collapse. John McAfee once famously said that his $1 million Bitcoin prediction was not based on the skyrocketing value of Bitcoin, but more so on the plummeting value of the US dollar. Call him crazy, but that is certainly looking like it is going to come to fruition. Even with a pending vaccine set out to roll in 2021, the dollar is expected to take a further tumble. Since Q1 of 2020, the value of the dollar is down almost 10%, but 2021 will see the dollar fall much further, many estimate to depths of 20% value lost. Inflation at its finest. But you have to understand, there's a much bigger problem brewing with our economy than you ever thought before. A new type of company, a new type of category has been created called zombie companies. These are companies that have only been saved due to a bailout from the last stimulus package. These companies have no motivation to once again become profitable. The only reason they are staying open is strictly so they can get more of that free government cheddar. And can you blame them? If your business in California has been destroyed by restrictions put in place by the largest hypocrite in the United States, Gavin Newsom, who loves a fine French meal, then why wouldn't you take advantage of the same government that doomed you? It's not like if businesses refuse the money, the taxpayers get that money back. It will just go to someone else. But besides, they just print it out of thin air anyways. But the problem is that these zombie companies are basically dead men walking, waiting for their final meals. And when these companies start falling by the wayside, it will continue to plunge our economy into the dark abyss of fiat predictability. As always, I'm not hoping for this, but it's reality. And who will lead us out of this financial crisis? Well, rumors are that probable President Joe Biden is looking at Andrew Yang for U.S. Commerce Secretary. That's right, the creator of Yang Bucks. I got a bunch of them in my wallet. They're worth nothing. He's also the champion of Universal Basic Income, or UBI. He's going to be in charge of the entire business structure of our entire country. Yeah, I see that one working out real well and bailing us out of financial turmoil. LOL, am I right? But hey, he's bullish on Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, so long-term, this could be good for our bags, if America makes it that long. So what are businesses doing to prepare for this economic meltdown? Buying Bitcoin. This is what you need to know. And I'll tell you this, if you don't own Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency, you are sunk in this new downtrodden economy. Big businesses know that. This is why PayPal and Grayscale are buying up Bitcoin like you've never seen before. In fact, PayPal bought 70% of all the newly minted Bitcoin last month. Grayscale has also been on a buying frenzy all year as they now own about 2% of all circulating Bitcoin. And it is obvious to most people where this is going. Own Bitcoin or get left behind. BTC will be the greatest hedge versus our declining economy. Wall Street is starting to wake up that they need BTC. Company MicroStrategy bought $450 million worth of Bitcoin. It's now worth $700 million. Square recently bought $50 million worth of BTC. It's worth $86 million now. This is the new economy, and it's time for people to wake up. Jump on board, or you will be sorry. Institutional investors are flocking in droves to Bitcoin. Coinbase says that they have now seen over $20 billion in custody from big money players. We've seen celebrities from Maisie Williams to Logic jumping into Bitcoin in the last week. I mean, it just makes logical sense. And I want to reiterate to you, this is just the beginning. If you're one of the lucky people watching this video, then you are still early enough to make that big boy money, but the time is drawing to a close. You have about 6 months remaining before the numbers get so crazy, it'll be safe to say that you missed out. An uptick in retail investors is also rising. Retail investors are just everyday people like you and me. But the question remains, will this end? While mega bullish scenarios do exist, I caution you to remember, people always feel like it will never end during a rising bull market. But most likely, this bull run will last about 1 more year or slightly less, meaning you have a finite amount of time to chase that paper. Let me rephrase that actually. You have less than a year to chase that open source computer code, because that's the new money. That's all I got. Be blessed. BitBoy out.